All right, thank you very much, Cash. We are back. In less than 3 months from now, the once mighty Dube Birds will be flying low in the National First Division. Moroka Swallows have never been relegated before, rather, and perhaps it has not sank in with some of the fans. So we therefore decided to just invite a sport analyst, Sipho Kekana, to just talk to us through the season of Moroka Swallows as it has been. Well, thank you very much for joining us, Sipho.
Thanks for having me, man.
All right. Where did things go wrong for Moroka Swallows all along? They've been playing well, but losing.
Yes. I think there are a number of issues when it comes to Swallows. Firstly, I think they're getting the sponsorship so late. Before they got the Hyundai sponsorship, they've been struggling financially. We know that at some stage the club management was saying that they needed to sell the club. So that's they wanted to sell the club because they were struggling financially, and those financial problems actually did affect what was happening on the field. Can you imagine having your team not getting the bonuses that they used to get and stuff like that? You go into the transfer market, play in December and in January as well. Some of your opposition teams are able to venture into the transfer market and bolster their teams. But what you can do is either promote from your development or from the NFD, or you can only retain your old players. Remember, they have some very old players. They were not able to sign younger players, more dynamic players that could actually help them complement the experience that their old players have. So those are just a number of reasons why they struggled. We did say that going into the playoffs, they were just going to struggle. It didn't matter who they were going to meet in the promotional playoffs. They were just going to struggle against the first division clubs who were just hungrier than the Swallows. Yeah.
Let's talk about the old players that you have alluded to. When you make an example about Lerato Shabangu, are we seeing him going down with the team, or has any club expressed interest in him? When you talk about Siyabonga Nomvete, the veteran who has been very, very instrumental in motivating the team in going forward, I guess things didn't go well for him. So what's going to happen to old players? Have you heard any news regarding them?
The likes of Nomvete, I've heard that Nomvete is going to remain with the side. The likes of Cheryl Khotwane is likely to remain with Moroka Swallows. But you talk about Lerato Shabangu. Although he's old, he's still got a few more years in him, and he's actually talking to vets as we speak, and chances are that he will. He did say a couple of weeks back that he will be leaving Moroka Swallows, and he would want to help them survive the relegation before he moved to vets. So he's definitely moving. Yeah.
Well, looking at the trend of teams that were big before and got relegated, when you make a comparison, say for example Juventus, who were once relegated were once a very big team, and right now they came back and they're making wonders. We'll be watching them participating in a final with Barcelona over the weekend in the Champions League final. Do you think Moroka Swallows will get into their first national division, do their thing, and come back to the PSL?
Will they come back? I'm not sure. It's going to be very, very difficult. You must understand that even though they have experienced players that have been exposed to more competitiveness in terms of football than the players in the NFD, they were not supposed to be in the first place. So psychologically, they are at a disadvantage. They were not supposed to be there. They've been dealt a huge blow. Will they come back? It's going to be very, very difficult. Perhaps not in one season, perhaps in one season. A lot will need to be changed. That team for a very long time needed to be overhauled. They still need to do that. They still have the same problems. They need younger players in the first division.
Now going forward, let's look at the contenders of the PSL now. We know that Black Leopards and Jomo Cosmos have a taste of what is it like to be in the PSL. Right now they are in the NFD. Who is your main team?
I like the way that Black Leopards are playing. They're playing very good football. the kind of South African kind of football. So Cosmos, we know they've just had the same technical team that doesn't change over the years. We know what they can offer. So even if they come back to the PSL, they won't offer the PSL much. So I think tomorrow's game between Leopard and Swallows, I mean Cosmos and Swallows, Cosmos might beat Swallows, but I would very much want to see Black Leopard make a return. I would have loved to see Swallows come back, but I would love to see.
Okay, we will see what happens regarding that. Just going forward, many people would like to know what's happening in the Kaizer Chiefs camp. Stuart Baxter and other players, are the players going as reported?
Yes, I think number one, it needs to be noted that a club like Kaizer Chiefs always, season in, season out, attract a lot of attention in terms of player movement. So some players are negotiating with Chiefs in good faith, and they will remain. But because there are negotiations, there's always that attention. The likes of Masango, I've heard that he could be on his way out, and Stuart Baxter as well. I think that's the main departure that we're going to see at Kaizer Chiefs. He is actually definitely leaving Kaizer Chiefs. As I've heard, that there are disagreements between him and the management in terms of signing players and stuff like that. He did say that those are the things that would need to change in the club in not so many ways, however.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, Sipho, thank you very much for talking to us. We really appreciate your participation on PM News.
Thanks, Colin.
All right, Sipho Kekana is our sports analyst right here. And of course, on to other news now. Two of European football's great names will meet in the 2014-2015 UEFA Champions League final.